So without any further ado, we would now like to invite for the keynote presentation Mr. Noor Ahmad Hamid, the Chief Executive Officer of Pacific Asia Travel Association. Let's welcome him with a huge round of applause.
Thank you, Masters of Ceremonies. It is a pleasure to be in Nepal, in Pokhara, for the first time of my life. So, I'm really excited to be here. Firstly, before I go into my presentation, I just want to record my appreciation to the Nepal Tourism Board, Nepal Pata chapter, and all of you today for attending this event. I think this event, just like the previous speakers has mentioned, bring all of us together. When I was talking to our CEO of Nepal chapter, who is still busy on his phone and computer over there, Suresh. Hi, Suresh. He said, Noor, can you come over and not only grace the event, but also speak about nice for mice. Can I have my PowerPoint, please? Thank you. So he gave me a title, Nice for Mice, and I go like, what the is nice for mice? Because I come from PATA, the Pacific Asia Travel Association, where not only we have members around the Asia Pacific region, but also we have deep history and relationship with Nepal, in particular, because Nepal, one of the biggest business in Nepal is tourism. So we know today PATA has more than 500 over members in more than 60 countries around the Asia Pacific region, and it started about 74 years ago, established in Hawaii in the US, whereby at that point of time there was literally no tourist destination in Asia. Nepal is not even in the tourism map. Bangkok, Phuket, Bali, not even on the tourism map. 74 years ago, the North American can only fly as far as from the US to Hawaii and the Pacific. And that's why we call the Pacific Asia. So he's just wondering if we are, wrong in the sense why not we call it Asia Pacific Travel Association. That's our deep history. But I think more importantly, when Suresh told me to talk about nice for mice, is because he said, no, you're an expert of mice. So I'm not really an expert of mice either. But I think one key important thing that we need to think about is that travel and tourism, as I always refer it, when you travel, there's a lot of purpose why you travel. And tourism is just one segment of it. And of course, business travel and so forth and so forth. So I'm going to try my best today to talk about mice for, how do I move this? Give me a second. I have to deal with this new. Okay. So when you talk about mice, I do not want to go into all the the definition of mice, but I just want to let swipe a bit so that I can see the screen. There's a global association called the Event Industry Council that basically represent about 13 different other international associations that involve in the mice industry. Mice is a huge word actually. So depending really when you say that you are in a mice business, which segment of the mice business that you are in. So this is an important question because often people say that you are an expert. I'm not an expert in mice because there are many segments of mice, and especially for destination like Nepal, you have to define which mice segment that you want to work on. You cannot be an expert or a destination for all the segment for mice. Generally speaking, a lot of destinations say mice is meetings, which is corporate meetings. It can also be governmental meetings, any kind of meeting from 5 people to 5,000. Incentive. This is what we call incentive travel groups, where companies provide incentive for their staff or high performers to go for a travel of a lifetime. Convention literally means for conferences and exhibition. And of course, exhibition is a different business altogether. But all in all, people call it events. Just like in Pokhara, we are in this Pokhara Event Center. So that's also MICE event. not sure why I keep going back. Okay, this is the forward. Now I got it. But these days, a lot of destinations and companies also are looking at MICE from different viewpoint. Whether it's music tourism, they're already saying that this is a swift economy, and weddings, which I think Nepal is doing very well in terms of attracting the wedding business, especially from neighboring countries like India. And of course, we have major events. Depending on whether you want to host the World Expo, for example, or Olympic, or soccer, or anything, including sporting event, as is happening now, the World Cricket. So it really depends on you how you want to define MICE. So I will dwell a bit more into like wedding. Wedding is definitely one of the biggest economic contributor now in terms of MICE tourism. Some destinations are even going out to bid for wedding business. I know because Pata head office in Bangkok, we see that Thailand in particular are going into the luxury side of the wedding business. But of course we know that for the Indian wedding markets, the main destination when we talk about the high yield wedding business, they will go to Europe, Middle East, and even as far as America. But are we not trying to attract that high yield wedding business to Nepal? So this is the question that I will pose a bit later in the presentation. And when we look at the MICE business, if I may, the economic significance to the MICE industry is about 1.6 trillion US dollar. I'm putting this in perspective to give you an idea how this can impact your business, whether you're a tour operator, your hotelier, your restaurants, whatever business that you have in the hospitality industry. So the number delegate is big, but this is the global figure. And when I said earlier on, when I said the word travel and tourism, travel is the bigger component of the whole business that we are in. And in 2024, the travel business is valued at 11.1 trillion US dollar. So imagine if travel is a GDP of a country. So tourism business or travel and tourism business is actually the third largest GDP in the world after US and China. Think about that. So all of us in this room today, we are the custodian, we are the practitioner of the third largest GDP. That's how important it is. Therefore, private sectors, governments need to work together because this is an important industry for our people, for our community. So earlier on when Shuri said, Noor, can you talk about MICE? I said that I'm not good in MI, the meeting and incentive, because I'm not from that industry. But I come from the convention and exhibition industry. So I can tell you a bit about that. But for today, for the purpose of this presentation, in the interest of time, I will not go into the exhibition business because that is a very complex subject altogether. But I'll just touch a bit about the convention, and I wanted to throw some questions so that you have some answers for yourself and for your businesses. When you talk about the convention business, easily put, I would say that this is not from any books or from any universities, but this is from the experience that I have over the last decade. There are three types of organizational meetings. One organized by governments, non-government, and sporting organizations. So these are the numbers that I've used to track and been tracked by about 13 other different international associations in the business event or the MICE segment. So imagine if you are trying to host a governmental meeting, whether it's an APEC meeting, a BRICS summit, whatever it is, and I'm sure that you can look out how many governmental organizations that Nepal is involved. Basically, it involves the Nepalese government to invite that meeting to come to your destination. And most often than not, you have to host the event because you are inviting. But the difference between governmental and non-governmental, there are at least 12,000 international associations that are in the world today. 12,000 associations. 12,000 associations that have members around the world, including like PATA, we are also an international association where we have about 14 members in Nepal. So when we are association, we have to have a meeting every year, and we have to rotate our meeting from one destination to another. And that's why this meeting has a good value in terms of economic sense to any destination that hosts. And I will not dwell into the sporting events. So when you talk about associations, just giving you some example, what are the global recognized travel organization? UN Tourism, the Pacific Asia Travel Association, the World Travel Tourism Council. This is just to name a few. But there are many, many more travel organizations around the world, whether at the regional level or at the global level. But I'm also giving you an example of some of the associations that deal with mountain, because now we are in the area that you are the custodian of the Himalayas mountain. This is just some of it. And I'm sure there are a lot more associations out there that deal with subject on mountain, whether mountain climbing, trekking, safety, the scientific part of it, or the climate change of it, and so forth and so forth. So if you're thinking about trying to win the MICE business in terms of conferences, these are just the tip of the iceberg. So I did my homework. I contacted my friends at the International Congress and Convention Association. Imagine if Nepal want to host an international association meetings. The numbers are, there are about 7,588 associations that you can connect and try to lure them to come to Nepal. There are about 11,000 meetings. This is a huge number. Just like the initiative that you are doing today, I think it's a brilliant idea to have a nice event, Nepal, India, and China. It's a good, brilliant concept. But I'm also afraid for Nepal, because if the 1.3 billion and the 1.4 billion people start coming to Nepal, where are you going to put them? 1% of 2.6 billion is already like 600 million tourists. You'll be in trouble. But of course, that's just in the jest. So this is the numbers, that the potential. But you're not going to host everyone here. So that's the good news. So you need to really do more research, and you need to focus what kind of conferences that you want to bring to Nepal. So Nepal, despite that you are not, I would say, the main destination or household name for MICE, especially international association meetings, you have hosted some meetings. And I'm sure that in this room, if you're not from the conference business or the association business, these slides will not be familiar to you. But you have hosted some of the conferences here. You might not have the world-class, big-size conference center like other destinations, but you have your own way of doing things. Just like this event center, I love it because you do it. You do this event in end of February. The weather is nice. I would say that Nepal is a rich country. You have air condition inside. You have air condition outside. This is low season, so this is the right formula that you have to bring business low season to Nepal. Conferences would avoid high season. So this is another way that you need to start thinking about how do you generate business for your travel and tourism community, not during the high season. I was told yesterday when I had dinner with some interesting friends from Nepal, saying that your high season and low season are like hell and heaven, so to speak. So you need to explore whether it's a wedding business, MICE business, conferences business. Try to fill up your capacity during the low season. So this could be very well one of the good options that you have. So in terms of hosting international conferences, because I'm very passionate about this area, I just wanted to share with you a good case study what conferences can bring to you. Nepal has hosted more than 57 international conferences in the last 20 years. So in the last 20 years, 57. So you put maybe another destination like Sri Lanka, maybe it's the same size of destination. Sri Lanka has hosted more than 250 international association conference. Yesterday, when I had a chance to go for the boating trip, I met a lady who I've never met before. I know that she's somewhere in the crowd talking on the second row there. So while we were boating, and then after the boating, I wanted to go back to the hotel. I saw this tree, and I asked her, what is this tree? Because I saw quite a lot in Nepal, even in Kathmandu, you have this big tree. And she said, this is a thinking tree, where Buddha and all the monks will be down the tree. I think this is the metaphor that I'm thinking. That when you have this thinking tree, it's just like this is tourism. How the tree grow and how the tree become bigger and bigger over years and years. And a lot of time, we in the tourism industry, PATA included, we are looking at just the number of arrivals. So if Nepal has 1.5 million tourist arrival, so next year the target is 1.7. If 1.7, it goes to 1.9, and then on and on and on. So our life is all about targets and achievement. But when you look at a tree, it's not just about the top of the tree. The most important part is the bottom of the tree, the roots. And all of you are the roots of the tree. If the public sector doesn't listen to the private sector, the tree will not be like what we have seen earlier on. I think this is the powerful thing that I saw in Pokhara when I traveled here. I said that to myself, this is thinking tree. So I've been thinking hard about this, and I think this metaphor that I'm sharing with you is very profound to our travel and tourism industry. When we all talk about sustainability, responsibility, meaningful tourism, which we are going to work with Professor Wolfgang in the coming years. Because we need to measure the success of tourism not just from the number of arrivals, not just from the economic impact, but from various impact. Because what tourism means to a young student, what tourism means to the owner of a hotel whom I met last night. So this is a question that I'm going to leave all of you. Sorry. And also the last 24 hours when I was in Kathmandu and 36 hours in Pokhara, I saw the most important assets for the travel and tourism for Nepal. Not the mountain, not the lake, but the people. I strongly believe that the people of Nepal is going to be the game changer for the travel and tourism industry. This is just some of the people that I met. In Kathmandu, in front of the hotel, I saw a wedding group walking in, and we were chatting, and then I asked them, how many dowry you have to bring and all those kind of thing. And it's very similar to what we have in Malaysia, where I come from. And from one conversation led to another, they said, can we have a photograph with you? I never met them before. And all the photos of the people that I've met the last less than 48 hours are the people that I've never met before. And they are so nice. They're so genuine. They are so warm. And they accept me into their home. And for that, I thank each of them. And I'm sure that all the tourists that come to Nepal will experience just that. So it's a bit of a commercial here. So PATA Summit is coming in Istanbul in April. For all PATA members, PATA chapter members, or even non-members, I invite all of you to join to this remarkable destination. And the very reason why we are holding our event in Istanbul this year is because, as you know, Turkey is a country that lies between Asia and Europe. We hope that we can learn what Turkey is doing. Istanbul has 20 million in population. The number of tourist arrivals is about 25 million a year. They have one of the best international hub for accessibility and also airline, of course and this year's tourism target is 75 million. So imagine if you need to host 75 million tourists to your destination, how many rooms that you need, how many hotels that you need to have, how many staff, employees that are going to be involved in the travel industry. Of course, there is a different size altogether compared to Nepal, but it is important for us to start thinking about how Nepal wants to move into the future. So I thank you for listening, even though I have not dwelled so much into nice, but I hope my message is clear. This is the thinking tree. You are the thinking tree. Thank you. Namaste.